Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste, Namaskar. Welcome everyone. Can you hear this okay?
Microphone?
Yes.
And do you need to swivel it up? Or?
I don't know, you tell me. Put it that way. Is that better?
Same.
Same?
Same.
But it's good enough.
Good enough, okay.
You can hear.
So some of you I recognize from last year. Some of you have seen videos, maybe? Yes, no? Some of you are brand new for the first time. So welcome, welcome. So for those of you who were here last year, you have some memory of sitting here in this place, in this space, before. And those of you that have seen videos, you some recollection of sitting in front of your computer or your phone or your tablet and watching. And for those of you that haven't done either of those things, you have some memory of some time ago, maybe a year ago or 2 years ago. That you can bring to mind right now in this moment, and it would be some time that was pleasant for you. Not something unpleasant, not something traumatic, but something that was pleasant for you. So for each of you, you can go back to a moment some time ago and you can remember in some way being there at that time and having this experience that you were having at that moment. And for most of you, you'll be thinking about the experience itself. But I want to point you toward the awareness that you were in that moment that makes it possible for you to even have this memory now. In other words, you were there. This you I'm referring to is not this body, or this mind, or the emotions that were present, or the pleasant feelings that were there at that time. But that simply which was aware that something was happening, before there was any judgment about it. Just knowing in that moment I am here. So now, I ask you to come into this moment. So some experience seems to be happening now, maybe? There seems to be some quiet, some children, some talking, some visual, some sensation you're having, maybe of sitting on the concrete. Something is in your experience at this moment. But I ask you to look directly, know in this moment you are here. Go to this feeling. This feeling, I am here, I am aware. This is before I am aware of her. I am aware of him. I am aware of sound. I am aware of light. I am aware of heat. before all of this, there's this experience. This is a very direct experience. It's happening continuously. And this experience is, I am aware. Can you feel this now? Can relate to this now? Do you know you are aware? Is it the body which is aware? No, this awareness is before the body. You know this because you know you are sitting here on the concrete, you know it is hot, you know the body is comfortable or uncomfortable. So you cannot be just the body. There has to be something else. Even now you're having some thought, or maybe you're just tracking my thought. What is aware of this? When Sri Bhagavan spoke, he often referred to this instruction: remain as you are. He said this often. This awareness that I'm just pointing you toward is what he was referring to. He wasn't referring to remain as this body, as this man, this woman. He wasn't saying, remain as this personality. I like this, I don't like that, I want to go here, I don't want to go there. I like him, I love her. It's not referring to this aspect of personality. When Sri Bhagavan suggests to us that we remain as we are, he is saying, go before the experiences and remain as that which is aware. This very same awareness which was present for you last year if you were sitting here, was present if you were watching a video on YouTube of a satsang, was present for you in this memory that you may have had from some time in your past of a pleasant experience, or a family member, a loved one, or a day at the beach. This awareness is always present, ever present, and continuous. It is present in waking, it is present in dreaming, and it is present in sleep. So you can say, and Bhagavan said, this awareness transcends all the three states. And when you rest as awareness itself, before body, mind, and world, you rest as this awareness, and this is the self. And so our instruction always, while we are here in satsang, but always everywhere we go, is to remain as you are, as awareness itself. So is this clear? This question, what is aware, or as Bhagavan said, who am I, is really oriented toward only showing us that we must keep turning away from all phenomenal occurrences, from all that is occurring in body, mind, and world, at least for a short period of time during the day. We don't need to turn away from it out of disregard or out of hatred or out of avoidance. But we do need to give ourselves the space to ask this question, who am I, or what is aware? And then give ourselves some moments of silence. If we just do this, returning over and over to this feeling state, I am here, I am aware, knowing this, slowly, slowly, we begin to lose our attention. which is constantly moving out, we are losing it all the time in the objects around us. We are able to stop that outward flow, even just for a moment, and rest as we are, as awareness itself. And this simple process, over time, eliminates samskara, eliminates this sense that I am the body, or I am the mind, and leaves us here, now, clearly as the heart of being. This is what you are. So when Bhagavan says remain as you are, this is what he's referring to. That you remain as the heart of being, prior to, before, even I am. This I being the very first thought which comes as awareness itself, begins to move out into body, mind, and world and differentiate into all of the diversity that we see around us. So we're reminded to keep returning. This is a story for the mind, understand this. When I say we keep returning, we can never leave, but in the mind it appears that we do. Isn't this true? Have you had this experience? We become caught by something in the mind and we seem to leave this recognition that I am aware. We become caught in this object, in this emotion or something else, something in the world going on around us. So there is this appearance that we have moved out, the attention has gone somewhere else. And so we have this story around we are bringing it back. But that which is aware is never disturbed. It never goes anywhere. It's always here. So this instruction to return is only for the mind. It's not for the self. So if you are resting in the self, remaining as you are continuously, then there's no more instruction for you. But if you still have this tendency for attention to go out into the pain in the body, the difficulty in the mind, the emotional upset, the world itself, if you still have this tendency for things to go out, understand that this is a natural occurrence, so it's not really a problem. But in this moment, when you realize that something has attracted the attention, has taken you out, then you make some effort, some small effort, to bring the attention back. You do this through the question, who am I? Am I aware? What is aware? Yes? You see, this is not a very complicated process. What it requires, so many of you know this already, is a certain persistence, we can say. Because the momentum of conditioning takes us out into the mind over and over and over. This has been our habit up until this moment, right? Maybe. So, at this time, when the attention goes out, we make some gentle effort to bring it back through the use of inquiry. Whether the question is, who am I? What is aware? Am I aware? Some form of the inquiry, whatever feels comfortable for you. And this gives us the opportunity to have this experience in the mind, where the mind seems to turn itself from out there, around, and try to look at itself. Of course, it can never actually look at itself, right? Because if you look at the thought, you look in mind, you see there's nothing there. As soon as you look at a thought, it begins to disintegrate. Even though it's a difficult thought, maybe it takes some time to disintegrate, but as soon as you begin to turn and say, what is the source of this thought? Not the thought itself, this is the object. But what is the source of this thought? Where is it rising from? You begin to see right away that it's rising out of emptiness. This can be very frightening for some people, and is often. So this is why we ask the question, well, then who is aware of this emptiness? You don't become stuck in the emptiness itself and in some fear or some difficulty or some shaking that is beginning to arise in this sense of emptiness. You simply say, I still see I am aware. Even there's nothing here. There's no sound, no sight, no thought, no emotion. There's nothing here. And yet, I am aware. This is enough. Stay there. Sooner or later, your difficulty will pass. And then you'll begin to realize, oh, I am always here. Whether waking, dreaming, or sleeping, there is this recognition of awareness itself, which is ever present, eternal, unborn, undying. This is who you are. Remain as that. And of course, at the moment you are remaining as that, there is no you. This is the last step and the scariest step, when there is no you anymore. Does this mean there's nothing? No, it means there's only this. This which you can feel right now if you say, I am aware, and stop there. Can you feel this? Can you see where I'm pointing? There is still a thisness, thisness to this experience. There is still a suchness. This suchness and this thisness is resting as awareness itself, not as you or me. And yet, somehow, all of us. And so at this moment we can say, so this is that. Were you able to keep up, or did I go too fast? So now, in some way, Satsang is over. It is finished. All that is left to do now is to begin to remove your doubt individually. So, who wants to start? No doubt? Very good. Now I know some doubt is there, so don't be troubled by this or embarrassed by this. If you have some doubt or something isn't clear, let's clear it up now. Let's not wait until next year.
It is clear, but identification comes always,
wait, excuse me. This year we have this, so everyone can hear you as well as me. Is it on?
Switched on. It's on.
Okay.
It's clear what you're saying, and I can be in the present. Sometimes it's, but I can say that identification can always very soon. So doubt can, and mind work.
So, when this doubt comes, even now, you say, oh, yes, this is clear, but there is some doubt here. What if you don't feed it?
It is true if I don't feel.
But
When I'm in satsang, easily I can be in the presence. But in the daylight,
yes, I'm guessing that everyone here knows this experience, right? So it just very
it's like
quickly.
I cannot be so strong to say, okay, no, just don't lose your mind, alone.
Yes.
I try, but still, it's like I lose
Yes.
something that is always there.
Yes. So in this instance, better to keep quiet and just observe rather than trying. The effort in this case is to wait, knowing doubt is here. So right now you can see this doubt is here in some way, even some small way. Yes. But what if you just look straight at it? Don't try, just say, oh, there is doubt, and just look at it. What happens?
There is more space.
There is more space, and in this space, can you feel the uncomfortableness of this doubt?
No?
So the uncomfortableness of the doubt that you ordinarily feel, which causes you to want to do something, solve something, finish something, yes? This is occurring in the mind, yes? So it's important to remember that food for the mind is called attention. Attention. Yes. Anything, literally anything, that you give attention to feeds it. This is true whether you're trying to create a painting, piece of art, you're trying to create a relationship, you're trying to create enlightenment within your own self, you're trying to get rid of doubt. Whatever you give attention to, the attention becomes the food for that thing. So in the world, if you want to create a beautiful painting, you shut out everything else and you paint. You give this attention. This is food for the creation. This is true in everything. So if your creation is doubt, then you must do this. Withdraw that attention. Say, yes, I see doubt is there. So you can give it a little snack. You're not saying, I deny this doubt, I deny this difficulty, or I deny this emotion. We're not about denial. We're simply saying, we're not about feeding that. We feed it with attention. When we withhold attention from it, this is where the small effort needs to be placed. Not in getting rid of. Just withdraw attention. Come back into this notion, into this recognition. I am here. I am aware. And then you see there's space. You said there is space for this doubt or whatever is there to be there, but not to be troubled by your picking at it like a scab. A wound? What is there?
Space. Space.
So very often, there is this recognition of this momentary peace. And then the mind immediately jumps into this peace and says, but I cannot be in this peace in my ordinary life. This is where the persistence piece is. And it's not really an effort, it's just a remembering that in this moment, whatever is present, I am not what I am looking at. I'm that which is aware of what is being seen, felt, experienced, tasted, touched, and so on. What happens for most of us through our conditioning is that we are so familiar with being aware. We are so familiar with this experience, I am aware, that we step right over it. And we feel as though we are always in what is being experienced. So we step right over the awareness. We don't even notice that we have gone from being aware in this peace to being caught up in whatever the object is, whether it be doubt or a sensation or pain in the body or something that's going on at work. We completely forget, not that we are aware necessarily, but that we are not what we are aware of. So then we begin to feel as though we are all of the objects which we are aware of. And these objects that we are aware of begin to define us. Now we are saying, my life looks like this, so I must be like that. I see this doubt in the mind, even when during times of peace, so I must be unpeaceful. We begin to identify in this way, rather than saying, I am aware that I am present with doubt. So, I am awareness. Instead we say, I am doubt. This is conditioning, just a habit of the mind. And for some of us, this conditioning is very strong, isn't it? We had a lifetime of seeing the ways in which we have declared ourselves to not being awake. And so our mantra becomes, over and over, I am not awake, and my mind proves it, my emotions prove it, my experience proves it, everything proves I am not awake. So this really is the conditioning that we are countering with the question, who am I? Am I aware? Because it doesn't take a huge amount of effort to remember to ask the question, am I aware? And to acknowledge then, I am aware. And to notice that everything else is rising in that awareness. As difficult as it may be, without this awareness which I am, I cannot know that this is here. Where is doubt if I don't know it's there? Is there doubt present when you are sleeping in deep sleep? Of course not. But are you aware in deep sleep? Do you wake up and say, I slept well? Right? Body is gone, mind is gone, emotions are gone, doubt is gone, everything is gone. When everything is completely gone, then you wake up in the morning and say, oh, I slept so well last night. Why? Everything was gone. So then, this is where Bhagavan was saying to us repeatedly, remain asleep even when you are awake. This does not mean walk around dozing off everywhere you go. This means don't feed, don't give attention to the objects which rise in body, mind, or world. This is a very difficult habit for most of us to break in the beginning, but the thing is that once we begin this persistent practice of returning to just the simple recognition, I am here, I am now, I am aware. As we do this, these conditionings begin to shatter very fast. In the beginning, they can seem overwhelming. They can seem like a heavy weight. But for most people, within just a few days of persistent recognition that no matter what object is present, I am that which is before the object, I am here, I am aware. I don't need to give attention. I don't need to give food to the objects. The objects will take care of themselves. This is just the nature of mind-body world. Everything will go in its own way. You know this because so many times you tried to get the things, the objects in your awareness to go in your way, and it has not happened. The objects, the world, the experiences that you must have through prarabdha karma in this lifetime, they will go their own way no matter what you do. So better that you just return to this recognition, I am that which is aware, and remain as you are. So yes, these things keep coming. Be persistent. I said this last year, I will say it again. If you are sitting here today, if you have come to Tiruvanamalai, you are here and we are having this conversation, you are already much further along the way to shattering this conditioning than you believe. Otherwise, you could not be in this room. That which you are as awareness has brought you here, just so you can hear the final steps. Whether it is 1 step or 1,000 steps or 10,000 steps, you are already on this way of knowing that you are that which is aware.
Okay, thank you. I can say that it is many years that I'm doing meditation and okay, there is this awareness, this space, this peace. But still the identification is there. It's like since many years still I'm just stuck with this identification. So it is like sometimes you lose the fire to go further, to go.
Very good. Lose everything. Don't have any more fire to go forward. This fire is
It is like I lost the fire. It is like, oh wow.
Yeah. So what this is saying...
Like I'm tired, no, that one.
Yes.
And just trying, but I'm tired now.
But you are what?
Tired to try.
You are tired of trying. Yes. So stop. Really. If you put down this fire of seeking, what is here now? If I say to you, this is it.
This is it. I could say this is it.
What is disturbing?
Nothing. now is okay.
Yes, but at some level, it's important to understand. Do you hear the emotion in his voice when he says, I am tired? This is the final result of seeking for almost everyone. It is not finding, it is exhaustion and failure, a sense of failure. And when we've spent 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 40 years in this seeking, there is also at that point a great deal of identification with the seeker. Yes. But it is the seeker that we are eliminating. So this is where the difficulty arises. So if I say to you in this moment, yes, throw the seeker down. Now there is no more seeker for you. Have you stopped being here? Are you no longer aware? Do you need the seeker in order to be aware? You see, you do need the seeker if what your goal is to be present. Right? Present. In this present moment. I know I am here. Present as this attention.
I am here.
But if you have come to this point of exhaustion, and you are able and you are willing to put the seeker down, now you cannot even remain present. But you can be presence. That which is supporting all of this space. You are that. You are not past. You are not future. You are not present. You are presence. Presence is what we know when we say, this is that. This is presence.
But mind come and say it will not stay its presence.
Well, end this thought. Yes. You see, it's not really a problem that you are seeing the form of your own conditioning at this moment, which is what you are seeing. These thoughts are the form of the conditioning of this body-mind. This is not the difficulty. The difficulty is that when the form of conditioning in this body-mind rises, you say, not I am present, you say, oh, I am this conditioning. So you are buying a camel when there is not one standing in front of you. This is what's happening. You are buying an illusion. Solution? Stop feeding the mind. The mind can say whatever it wants. What does this have to do with me as awareness? You can ask in this way. What does this have to do with me? Nothing. Nothing. I am awareness itself. Then before that, awareness is. Not even I am awareness. Simply, awareness is. You are close enough to push yourself. Are you willing?
Yes.
Just keep dropping. The thoughts will still keep coming, the sensations will still keep coming in the body. This is not you, this is the body-mind experience. You are before all that. You see, you have to hear these things over and over. It's not to convince you of something. It's only to get you to realize that you are stopping short of what you can understand. By buying this identification with what is occurring in body, mind, or world, you are stopping short. You are saying, oh, I must be disillusioned because this illusion is so strong. The awareness itself is not so strong. Right mind can say like this, but it's actually the opposite. Once we begin to break down this conditioning, then the recognition of consciousness itself, that which is aware, begins to really shine. So just keep going.
Keep going in what? Not fit?
Keep going in not identifying with what is happening in the mind, and not feeding the mind. Yeah. Just with this simple truth, I am aware. So simple. And this is difficult for mind, isn't it? Mind, what is mind about? Huh? Mind is about complexity. Diversity. Sweetie over here, sweetie over there, sweetie over there. This complexity. Well, this complexity just stays anyway because it's part of the space of consciousness. Everything is consciousness, so all of this diversity is also consciousness. The problem is not the diversity. The problem is identification. So you just slowly keep undermining this. You can do it quickly, but it seems like maybe you want to go a little more slowly.
I want to go quickly, but...
Okay, so I want to go quickly. Don't follow with but. I want to go quickly. This is enough.
It is like I'm tired, so I just want.
Yes, but this is what I'm saying to you. Yes, let the seeker die. Just let everything be tired. Go ahead. And then ask the question, am I aware? Even in this tiredness. And don't do anything. Stop doing. This is the source of the tiredness, you see. As long as there is a doer, then doing makes for tiredness. As soon as there is no doer, then doing can happen or not happen. This is up to life itself, right? This is not my decision. So it is the doer which gets tired. Or the body, you know, even there's no doer, I can be sitting here and the body can go. The body says, okay, rest now. But consciousness is not resting. Even the body is here like this. As soon as the body sits up again, awareness goes, oh, there was some sleeping happening. Right? Nothing has been gained or lost. There was just some sleeping happening. I was not sleeping, but somehow the body was resting. In some way, I can say, if we have this conversation enough, say over the next few weeks, or you hear this conversation enough, then you begin to go away and these doubts and this kind of conditioning and all of this is rising at some time again. But now, there is this other voice that says, this is illusion. And you begin to work in this way with the content of the mind. This is only necessary if you cannot chop it all right now in this moment. Because, you know, you said, but. So So this is the indicator that I cannot just chop it completely right now. So then you have to have some indication to keep going. So we say things like be persistent, and we give some direction like this. But the real direction is just chop it. Stop seeking. Stop believing what the mind is telling you. Even right now, you can look up here. I can see that you are searching in the mind.
Searching means it is like I know later it will be like mine.
But you have also said you are tired. This is a very good place to be at this place where you are just so tired and frustrated with this search. This is very good.
Is something like there is something that doesn't want to let go totally.
There's something that wants what?
To let go totally, like
To let go of talking. Yes. So we stop now. Someone else?
Намасте. Очень сильно было услышать, что именно говорить себе и осознавать, что ты осознанность, а не иллюзия.
It was very powerful to hear that you are that awareness, not an illusion.
Вот у меня как бы часто какие-то сложности возникают, когда даже с людьми общаешься из этого окружения определенного. И люди часто говорят, это ум, это иллюзия, но просто в этом, ну, как я вижу, это какой-то пессимизм просто. Это пессимизм и какая-то покорность, и уже ты заранее сдаешься иллюзии, говоришь, что ты проиграешь. Ну, как бы, когда ты говоришь, что вот у меня ум сильный, или иллюзия, или прочее, или там, не знаю, дьявол, чего угодно. Такое ощущение, как в этом есть просто пессимизм, и все.
And when people say that is mind strong or the illusion is strong, it feels that it's a pessimistic way to perceive the things.
Ну, как бы я про себя могу говорить, но вот это счастье, которое меня в Тиру притащило, как будто какая-то сила, как будто тянула мое тело сюда, и я не могу видеть другого, кроме этой как бы радости, то есть я не знаю.
And this joy which brought me here, then I cannot see anything else, just this joy.
Потому что эта сила, она сильнее все равно. То есть я это понимаю. Я понимаю, что я даже не тело. То есть эта сила меня сюда притянула. Потому что я как бы и не хотел, и даже не знаю зачем, но я чувствую внутри, что она делает свою работу как бы. И на данный момент, что, как я понимаю, как еще Роман сказал прикольно, когда к нам попозже приехал, что ты приехал сюда, поезд тебя довез, все, поезд больше не нужен. То есть остальное оно происходит само.
It feels that this joy brought me here. It's like Ramana said that to Papaji, that train brings you here, so you don't need any train to go. So the grace will do that work.
Very good.
Я очень счастлив, что я вот сюда пришел. Для меня это было очень важно, потому что у меня было ощущение, что я вообще один с таким как бы, видением. И мне, у меня огромная благодарность, поэтому я во многом решил сказать.
I'm very grateful because I can see that is my also point of view, and I'm not alone on it.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
So you mentioned samskaras in the beginning, and as we practice, as we focus on awareness, these samskaras will rise. It can be very difficult to understand or to focus on the awareness. Is that true? That sometimes our awareness can be muddled or foggy?
Yes, yes. And this is the reason for the question, who am I? So this very short form.
That's the tether.
This very short form, because in the difficulty of conditioning or identification with body, mind, and world, we don't really want a long conversation about how to get back there. This is why we are encouraged to go, who am I, or am I aware? This simple noticing, in some ways, in the beginning, it can seem like you can't even see the gap between the recognition, I am aware, and the samskara starting up again. You can't see it, right?
Yeah.
But by repeating it, even if it's not at its deepest heartfelt place, some small gap is being inserted there. And the reason I say it's being inserted there is because on this side there's the question, am I aware or who am I? And on this side is where the samskara is starting. So even, in the mind, where it becomes visible or obvious in the mind. So the reason we keep doing that is because if we don't, in some way, cause the attention, even very briefly, to come away from the samskara, away from the thinking, away from the emoting, and to come back toward the source, then the attention, as I said, becomes the food that feeds the whatever else comes after that.
Thank you. Is it required or an absolute that a teacher bring us through some difficulties that maybe in our body-mind experience are impossible to vanquish with the question of the inquiry? Is it necessary?
Well, you can say it is both necessary and unnecessary. If you are coming not coming from direct self-knowledge, then you will acquire this possibility, let's say, or this this possibility of a different perception from the one you carry around through your conditioned mind. This will come from somewhere. So whether you get it because you read a book, or you get it because you hear someone speaking about it, like today, in either case you are getting it from a teacher, right? You're getting it from an external source.
Yeah.
But this external source, in some way, is rooted throughout 5,000 years of these teachings. So, you see, this is your source. This is the source of all of this work.
Right.
So, whether you say, I have a teacher and that teacher is Ramana, I have a teacher and that teacher is Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar, I have a teacher and that teacher is Papaji, I have a teacher and that teacher is Shankara, Sri Shankara, or you go further back into the lineage, Dattatreya, you just keep going, Avadhuta Swami, you just keep going back, Astravakya sage, you just keep going back. You're getting the teaching from somewhere, but in the mind, this is where the mind is getting it, right? Because it's very hard for most of us to conceive of ourselves as the self if we have no experience or no one has ever pointed it out to us.
Right.
So, in some way, but understand that always God, the Guru, and self are one. So it's only in the mind that there is this perception. So you can just ask yourself, do I need a teacher? Well, if one is there, why not use it? Make it simple. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't spend 40 years reading books. I've already done that, so we can shorten your term here.
So what do you suggest rather than doing that?
Remain as awareness itself. This is where all the teaching leads. There's just no other end to it. You can start wherever you are, you can go on whichever path you want, but all paths in the end are leading to the same point. This recognition that there is awareness itself, and I am that.
So I'm beginning to realize the troubles I've had leading up to today about what to do with this mind-body phenomena. It's there, it's got karma to fulfill. And the trouble for me was, I have to eat, I have to walk, I have to do things in order to fulfill whatever responsibilities I have. And it seemed like all those things were desires, basically, arising in the mind, maybe from past experience, hunger, whatever it may be. And I think I'm realizing that through all that, remaining the awareness that I'm hungry, that the body is hungry, that these foods are pleasant or unpleasant, is enough to continue to vanquish samskaras and to reach the result of self-realization where I'm not creating more karma. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, in some way, but these are all the things that you're talking about are very preliminary, because at some point there has to be this direct perception that it is not I which is aware of the taste of the food. It is not I which is experiencing what seems to be some samskara. It is not I which is experiencing anything at all. This is simply the prarabdha karma, the life of the body. This goes on when there is even no me and there is no I. Awareness does not require me to be here. Simple. But this is not an easy place necessarily to get past. Because in some way, the form of identification that we have, what you're calling samskara with, attitudes and with life experiences and karma and all of this, this is all very dense material in comparison to the recognition awareness is here, and that is all that's here. There is no projection into what is here. It's not mine and not mine. This is all way too much thinking.
So I guess my difficulty is when you say that all that is really here is awareness, that the thoughts in the mind are just not who I am, and there's just
Correct.
that's just happening.
Yes, the example that's used is that you are blue sky. You are vast blue sky. Thoughts, experiences, sensations, and so on. Clouds. Always passing. Sometimes thick, blocking out the sun. Sometimes thin. This is the nature of perception in mind. So, sometimes it can just be very, very helpful even to keep these very simple images in your own experience of you being sky and the clouds being there. Sometimes they are there, sometimes they're not, sometimes they are thin, sometimes they are thick. The more that you can remember this, you can come to this recognition that everything which is arising in body, mind, and world is impermanent. It's all passing. And yes, it can be very difficult if something is stuck in the mind and it takes days or weeks or months for it to pass. It can be very difficult if you have a condition that lasts throughout your lifetime. This can be true. But all things come to an end in body, mind, and world, except awareness itself. This goes on. Your consciousness. As is everything else, but everything else has a limited quality to it. You are infinite consciousness. You are infinite awareness. It's enough only to remember this even when the mind is telling you don't believe that. It's enough. If you remember, as Bhagavan said, even only I, like your heartbeat, I. Sooner or later, all of the karmas, all of the samskaras, all of the prarabdha karmas will be dissolved. by grace itself. This is one of the reasons it's not important to overstrive. Because this overstriving, overseeking interferes with that moment when grace is surrounding you and you are now a fish in water and looking for water. Grace is always around.
Can you just speak on how striving interferes a bit more? Like,
It's fairly simple why striving interferes, and the reason is because there has to be a striver, right? So if there is a striver, then there is a me who is striving. This becomes very obvious at some point. And so the nature of striving is that it is rooted in a striver. So there's a subject-object is always there. This is always, there's a necessary space between those two, or a necessary separation between the doer and the doing, between the striver and the striving. So this is why it creates so much difficulties. It reinforces the notion that there is me,
yeah.
that I am separate, rather than I am all of this.
I get it, but there's like this, for me there's always this tension between like acceptance and like just maybe going to meditate or whatever and being like, okay, this is it, and then
Where does the tension lie?
of just like maybe not feeling like you're doing something in a way, or like
No, that's the thought.
Yeah.
Where does the tension lie? Can you bring this tension to mind right now? And just in some way, even as a memory, of what that feels like. Is that tension always with you?
no, not at all.
Well, then go with that.
Yeah,
Don't go with the tension piece,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
If you now have the experience that you are able, at some moments, to rest as this piece, just aware, just make that your practice.
okay,
And when anything else, when the sense of striving, or am I getting it right, or am I doing it right, or should I be doing something else comes up, just
yeah,
send this away and come back into this full awareness. You are here. And this here-ness has inherent in it this peaceful quality. Now rest.
I think it's just hard with this like conditioning in a way
Yes.
that we've
absolutely.
been brought up with, to kind of just like let those layers slide.
Absolutely.
And so it's, I don't know, I feel like the mind always just comes in and it's really difficult to just like release maybe those expectations from like whatever family or
Yes, yes. So, but this is why it becomes important to be able to say to oneself when you're in that position of looking very closely or very precisely, this is mine.
yeah, yeah,
And I'm not saying that you say that every thought that comes up, even if you're having a very difficult day or hour or week, at some moment it is not possible for you anymore to not wake up from that dream and go, that is mine.
yeah,
Now put it
Yeah.
down. Right? Put it down simply and quickly. Ah, that is mine. Now I remember.
yeah.
Chop it. That's the finish of it right then, in that moment. Right? It's the finish of it in that moment. If you're very fortunate, it may continue, that those moments go on forever. But if not, then the next time you notice, oh, that is mine. The key, the secret is not to make everything the mind says, does, and experiences so important. You know, you cannot change what others think of you. You cannot change what parents think of you. You cannot change the expectations that the world has put on you. But you can see through them and know that I am this awareness. And if you hold to that, it's enough.
And the difference between like, I don't know, like an authentic aspiration or something and the mind, like ultimately, is there...
There can't be an authentic aspiration without the mind.
Yeah, so this is, yeah.
So you see, they are...
Yeah.
But I think what you're actually getting at is if you were to fully be here, now, eternally awareness, would there be any aspiration?
Yeah, this is, yeah.
And the question is, maybe, maybe not. The answer is, if there is no you, then whatever is occurring is the will of life itself. And the question for you may become, am I willing to aspire to nothing
Yeah, this is,
for this one, and have until the deep recognition that life itself is choosing all of this becomes my direct perception.
yeah. Yeah.
And are you willing to, in some way, see what life is offering you beyond the mind,
Yeah.
beyond the expectations of body, mind, and world, of culture, of family? Are you just willing to be happy
Yeah.
and not worry about all the rest of that? And I don't mean happy in this happy party sense. I mean, are you happy to just be you as you are before all of this conditioning, before the expectations of your own mind?
I guess that's the goal.
Okay, you can say.
Yeah. That is.
So you are here now. Are you happy?
Yeah.
Remain as that. Become very familiar with this, just this, and then see what aspiration might come. Or inspiration might come.
Sorry?
Or inspiration might come. Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardanam Urvaragamiva bandinam Nityor Mukshiyamamritam Swaha Om Sat